My name is Yüce Kabakçı and I was born in Izmir, Turkey, which is also known as Smyrna in the book of Revelation, one of the seven churches. And I was born into a Muslim family, and my parents have always been nominal Muslims, and they always stayed away from being radical or more religious. So they never taught me how to be a more consistent and good Muslim. Most of the time, my grandmother taught me how to memorize the prayers in Islam, and most of those prayers, probably all of them, not most, are to be prayed in Arabic and not in your own tongue. So she would teach me these words that I didn't understand, but I would usually memorize them and pray them before I went to bed, and they would give me a sense of peace and comfort. But that was all that I had as a training. In Islam, there's this tradition that they sacrifice a lamb every year, which is a commemoration of what Abraham did. And the Quran tells a story as Abraham sacrificing Ishmael to Allah, but Allah saves Ishmael by sending a goat, by providing a goat. So Muslims, they don't necessarily sacrifice that lamb as an atonement for their sins, but as a tradition. I think Muhammad was really smart enough to follow that line of thought in the Old Testament because God promised Abraham that his seed would continue from Isaac, but not from Ishmael. As I was growing up, I would watch that event all the time, but I didn't know what it meant at all. But I would really feel sorry for the lamb who was slaughtered because it would usually become my friend during that time. In high school, I didn't really like hanging out with my friends and do the same things that they did. I was kind of an oddball. I would usually sit in my corner and read books, and I found this book by Rene Descartes, Discourse on Method, and that book really sparked my interest, and I wanted to read other books like that. And I found books by Kant, Hegel, Spinoza, and I would usually spend my whole time reading those books, and by reading them, I started to set aside my Islamic beliefs and became more of an agnostic rather than an Islamic theist. But when I started my college education, I moved out of my house and went to a different city. It's in a Mediterranean part of Turkey, and it's a very small city. And I began to question my own beliefs about reality and religion and God. And as I kept reading philosophers, but none of them were able to give me satisfactory answers to my questions. So I questioned my own worldview, and I decided to read the Quran again and to become a more consistent Muslim. So I started reading the Quran every day, and I would practice almost everything I could, pray 5 times a day. I would read Quran hours and hours and hours every day, and I kept seeing the names of Jesus, Abraham, Moses, and David, and Quran really speaks of them very highly. And I wanted to read the Bible as well to see what the Bible says about them. But at that time, my sister moved to Chicago, and she asked me to come to the United States to continue my education, to do an MBA degree after I graduated from college. I was majoring in economics, and I thought for a moment that would be a good opportunity for me to come to the United States and convert those deluded Christians into Islam and to bring them to the light. So I decided to find a Bible, but I looked for a Bible in the whole town, and I went to every single bookstore, but I couldn't find one. And I kind of gave up on finding the Bible and reading the Bible. And then later on, I had this really interesting dream in which I saw a man wrapped up with white clothes He was rising up from a grave, and then he just walked away, and then 3 women came up to that grave and said, "He's not here, he's not here," 3 times. When I woke up in the morning, I didn't understand what it was about. It didn't make any sense to me at all. So I kind of let it slide, and I didn't really think about it as much. And then after a month, as I was reading a newspaper, I saw this Bible ad. They said, "If you call us, and we'll send you a free Bible." It's from a different city. And I called them, and they sent me a Bible, a New Testament, not the whole Bible. And I started reading the New Testament, and I came to Matthew chapter 28, 27 and 8, and I saw the resurrection of Christ. It says, "Now, after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week began to dawn, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat on it. His countenance was like lightning, and his clothing as white as snow. And the guards shook for fear of him, and became like dead men. But the angel answered and said to the woman, 'Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where the Lord lay, and go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead, and indeed he is going before you into Galilee, there you will see him. Behold, I have told you.' So they departed quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to bring his disciples word." As I read these verses, it was not exactly the same as my dream, because there was no tomb. It was a grave in the ground, because I had never seen a tomb before in my life. But there are some of the words or sentences that I heard as the same in my dream, such as, "He is not here, for he is risen." I only heard the part where "he is not here," and I saw the faces of the women who were departing the grave, and they were, just like the Bible says, they departed quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and they were leaving the graveyard as they were leaving the graveyard just like they were filled with joy, and they had really an important thing to tell others. That was the end of my dream, and as soon as I read these passages, I remember my dream exactly, and I closed the Bible, and I just dropped it on the floor, and then kicked it, and then started praying as, "Please Allah, don't make me a Christian. Don't test me like this, and I don't want to be a Christian."